Welcome back to our series on leadership skills. In this short one-part module, we're going to cover the crucial area of a leader's listening skills. Communication involves more than just speaking. It also involves active listening, the giving of one's undivided attention. This is not just listening with our ears, which is critical, but also with our heart, mind, and spirit, so that we really hear. Now, most of us in leadership and ministry have been taught or trained how to speak, but very few of us have been trained or taught how to listen. And listening is crucial in communication. Before getting into some practicalities, let's briefly reflect on this biblically. Listening is a theme in Scripture also. In the Hebrew language, the root word of both hear and listen is the word Shema, a verb which occurs some 1,050 times in the Old Testament. In most contexts, the meaning extends beyond just the physical act of hearing to suggest processing and responding to what was said. In fact, when translators translate Shema, they must decide whether, in the context, it means hear or obey. By way of example, when we speak to our children, we sometimes angrily say, "Did you hear me?" implying that they may have heard us audibly, but they didn't obey us. This illustrates the Hebrew idea of Shema. When we truly hear, we do so in the sense of hearing, processing, and responding. Jesus spoke of how his sheep must know his voice, listen for his voice, and follow his voice. In the book of Revelation, Jesus asked that anyone with ears to hear in the 7 churches of Asia Minor must listen to the Spirit and understand what he is saying to the churches. Again, the emphasis is not just on audibly hearing words, but on active listening, then processing and responding to what was said. Applying this to the context of leadership skills, the lesson is that we need to develop a capacity to concentrate and listen with the purpose of comprehension. On average, people can speak at a rate of 125 to 175 words a minute, the speed of speech, and our brains can process 400 to 800 words a minute, the speed of thought, as words are being communicated to us. The differential between the speed of speech and the speed of thought is one of the major reasons why many people have difficulty in listening. It is the root cause of distraction. As leaders, we need to be good listeners. Listening is hard work. It is so easy to switch off. So, here are some ideas for how to develop the skills of being an attentive and empathetic listener. The list is adapted from Madeline Burley Allen's very helpful book, Listening, the Forgotten Skill, and Neil Flanagan and Jarvis Finger's book, Just About Everything a Manager Needs to Know. Number 1, commit yourself to really listen. Whenever you need to hear everything someone is saying, commit yourself. Really commit yourself to listen. Say to yourself, the most important thing in my life at this moment is to understand this person's feelings and views. Accordingly, focus all your listening capacity on the speaker. Actually want to listen better. Number 2, concentrate on what the person is saying. When listening, listen. Be attentive. Listening is not a passive activity. Unless you're concentrating solely on what is being said, you're not listening. If you've heard it all before, hear it again. Fight the switch-off syndrome. The more you work at concentrating while listening, the more your powers of concentration will develop and the easier listening will become. Number 3, be interested in the person you're listening to and in what they're saying. Don't be in a hurry or give the impression that you're speaking to them just to fill in time. Value people and their words. Number 4, show the speaker you are listening. We do so by brief expressions such as, I see, right, interesting, I understand. Maintain eye contact or whatever is appropriate in your culture. Nonverbal acknowledgement such as head nodding, facing the speaker, smiling, facial and body expressions that are relaxed and open. Perhaps use door openers such as, "Tell me more about it." "Would you like to talk more about it? Let's discuss it. It sounds as if you've got some ideas or feelings about this," or "I'd be interested in what you have to say." Don't interrupt the speaker's train of thought by interrupting with a response until the speaker has finished. Number 5, mentally screen out distractions like background activity, noises, phones ringing or buzzing, our own thoughts, the speaker's mannerisms, daydreaming, emails that you're currently drafting, or things you have to do. Giving in to distractions is a bad habit, which could mean you miss something worthwhile or vital. Number 6, neutralize your biases and emotions. If you've already made up your mind about a person or what they're trying to say, you'll completely miss what they are saying. Don't let how you feel about the speaker's voice, character, appearance, their reputation, or the subject being discussed distort the real message. Keep an open mind, listen without judging or jumping to conclusions. Stay calm, don't get upset. Number 7, seek for comprehension. Seek to grasp what they're trying to say by identifying the main points they're communicating. Search also for the implications of what is being said. If listening for a long time, try to remember concepts, key words, ideas, or phrases. Number 8, test your understanding. Ask for repetition, clarification, amplification, and examples. Summarize from time to time. I sometimes say, "This is what I hear you saying," and then I offer a summary in my own words before asking, "Is that accurate?" And by doing this, you will indicate to the speaker that you are really listening. Number 9, don't respond prematurely, either in your thoughts or words. Make sure you comprehend what the person is saying before you judge the message. Resist the temptation to prematurely debate, evaluate, or interpret the message instead of listening to all that is being said. Our time would be spent better by checking and rechecking the information through questioning and seeking clarity. Don't start working on your responses until you've heard what they have to say. Number 10, pay attention to what isn't being said, to nonverbal clues, such as their body language. Eyes, facial expressions, body language, and general demeanor are like a second voice. Watch out for these also. They can indicate a lot about how the person feels, sometimes more than their words. Number 11, don't talk too much. You can't talk and listen at the same time. Let them dominate the discussion. This will allow you to stay focused and to listen. Number 12, where and when appropriate, respond to what has been shared with a view to engage in meaningful conversation. Now, if the person starts sharing and bearing their heart, here are some guidelines for effective listening and responses. Most of these are adapted from Burley Allen's book on listening, and she writes, "Never minimize or trivialize what a person is feeling or facing. Don't use stock phrases like, 'Oh, it's not that bad, you'll be better tomorrow,' or 'it'll blow over,' or 'don't be upset.' Try to empathize, that is, try to feel what the speaker is feeling. Share your own experiences to show understanding. If you require clarity on something the person has said, wait for the person to pause. Ensure you ask open-ended questions that require a thoughtful response rather than closed questions that can be answered with a yes or no. Endeavor to follow some ground rules for a conversation of this nature, like don't interrupt, don't take the subject off in another direction, don't interrogate, don't teach or preach, guide and help them to see solutions for themselves rather than just tell them what to do. Best-selling author Dr. Rachel Naomi Remen wrote, "The most basic and powerful way to connect to another person is to listen. Perhaps the most important thing we give each other is our attention." Well, that's it for this session on listening skills. I hope that you found it helpful. As mentioned, commit yourself, really commit yourself to listen. God bless.